Hello, YouTube land. Richard again, Mulstar Enterprises LLC, a house washing and power washing company with what I think is another very valuable tip, especially for newbie power washers, soft washers, whatever. If you're running a pressure washer, especially when you hook it up to the garden hose, there's one thing that you have to be careful with, well, especially when you start getting up into the 4,000, 3.5 gallon a minute or 4 gallon a minute machines. Now, probably at some point, this happened to me with a smaller machine with the 3,400 PSI machines and that is for whatever reason, you have your water connected and for whatever reason, you turn it off. You got to repair something or you want to unplug it, you want to unplug the line, and anyway, you don't want water squirting at your machine, so you go and you turn off the water. You do whatever you got to do, put on your new, Snap Connect line, whatever you turned it off for, you correct the situation, and you're ready to go. You're all hyped, all psyched, all pumped up, ready to go. You start your machine and you pull the trigger and you start shooting out water, and then all of a sudden you hear the machine straining and even see your hose collapsing, and with horror you realize that you forgot to turn the water back on. So always be aware of your water flow. What can happen? Let me tell you a story. I bought my brand new 4,000 PSI, power washer, hooked it up to the hose. I did exactly what I just said, turned it off. And then I turned it on and forgot to turn on the water, started up the machine and started spraying. To my horror, I realized, I didn't turn the water on. Anyway, I jumped, turned the machine off. It was only running for probably, 20 seconds. Turned it off and went to the garden hose, turned the water back on, started up the machine, and what do you think happened? Water starts spraying all over the place. What happened is that the suction of the machine, especially when you start getting up around 4,000 PSI, it literally started sucking the O-ring in the quick connect fitting. It sucked it out and it tore it apart and it was leaking. So I'm on this job, and within my first 30 seconds of washing with my brand new machine, I got a leak, and I had to stop, and I didn't have an extra. I had to stop the job, tell the homeowner, I have to run out and get something. So, it cost me about, an hour and a half. I had to buy a new female connection. I haven't had much luck. I know these big box stores, they sell O-rings. However, I don't know. I closely matched them and they always seem to fail. Your best bet is just buying one of the female connectors, which are usually under $10 with the O-ring installed. That seems to last best for me. And if you have to buy one to screw on, whatever your machine was, my particular machine, I had to screw it onto a thread. I used my Teflon tape. And another valuable tip is always check that thing once in a while. You have to be very careful not to over tighten it. But what happened to mine over time was one day I seen water leaking and then spraying out under high pressure, creating a huge mist. I'm like, what's going on? And you never want to walk in front of the hose. I turned it off and I realized that over time, vibration and, your heat makes the metal expand and contract. Over time, it could work its way loose. And with 4,000 psi. If you don't catch that, it could shoot out and hurt you bad. Could even kill you. You know, if it cuts an artery, all kinds of terrible things. So always be mindful, always keep an eye on that. And like I say, you don't want to strip the threads. You just want to snug it up and then give it maybe a little quarter turn and just keep an eye on it. You know, you don't want to be a thread stripper, because a simple little task can turn into a nightmare, and an expensive one too. So I guess that's my little valuable tip. And, you know, so, and another thing, you know, there are guys on YouTube I see that start up their machines and run them dry, and you see them, they get done washing and they unplug the garden hose and they, you know, start up the machine and pull the trigger and squirt out whatever's in the machine and let the machine, the pump, run dry. That's a big no-no. These pumps are designed to have water in it at all time. You can wipe out that pump very quickly, or you just cut its life expectancy in half. So keep that in mind too. Never let your pump run dry. And also, if you have your regular run-of-the-mill, you know, pressure washer, when it's running, you want to keep the water flowing. It's not like, you know, you have a buffer tank where the water is recycled. No, you have a heat relief valve, which I find a lot of times, you know, they don't work or they stop working. But long story short, if you're stopping the flow of water, you know, you definitely don't want it to go, you know, more than a minute. You know, like my goal is to always, you know, turn that thing off. Don't let the pump running without the water squirting out, because it heats up and that heat destroys your pump. So I guess that's my little helpful tips for today. If you find this information helpful, hit the subscribe button and like button, please, so you don't miss any future coming tips, because I will, as you know, I'm not where I want to be yet, like you, most likely, but I'm on my way. And anyway, I'm just sharing some disasters I've had along the way, so you don't have to go through it. Remember, a wise man learns from his mistakes, but a wiser man learns from his mistakes and other people's mistakes too. With that being said, peace out, stay safe, and have a fantastic day.